Hello guys, my name is Glurmit, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why you might be failing your Imperial Trooper counter to Starkiller, and how to win more consistently. As always, time codes will be linked in the description. One of the biggest issues when going up against Starkiller is speed. Are your Imperial Troopers fast enough? Are they modded correctly? Did you calculate the speeds correctly? If you don't get this step correct, the chance of success is very low. If you're interested in learning how to mod your Imperial Troopers for max efficiency, check out the video on the screen now. Now that we have established speed as a reason why you might be failing your Starkiller counters, let's break down how to make sure you can go first. The first thing to know is the order that abilities are calculated when loading into the battle. And this is useful for general play here, guys. It follows the following order: enemy uniques in order of placement, then player uniques in order of placement, and finally the player lead, then followed by the enemy lead. So for example, say you have a character who gave a flat speed increase, such as Starkiller, and then someone else on the same team who gave a percentage increase, such as Admiral Trench. You would want the latter of the two, so in this case Trench, to be selected last. This would give you a bigger speed boost overall, as he would be applying a percentage increase on top of the flat increase you've already received. Now let's break down the meta Starkiller lineup. For the purpose of this video, we will be looking at my current Grand Arena opponent as an example. Usually you will see Palpatine as the leader. In this example, he has 245 speed, and Palpatine has no speed gain mechanics in his kit, although this is important not to be confused with turn meter gain mechanics, which Papa Palps has plenty. Next up, we have Mara Jade, and I'm kind of confused here, guys. This Mara Jade is so slow, only 252. And once again, there's no speed being gained from Mara's kit. Now, normally people run Old Ben with Starkiller, but my opponent does not have him built up, so we'll be looking at the kit only in this example. Old Ben does influence speed, but only on his death, guys. He gives speed up when he dies. And this should make next to no difference for the Imperial Trooper counter, because once you take the first turn, the turn meter train is going to be there and you're not going to stop taking turns. So the speed up doesn't really change anything here. Just make sure you're modded correctly, and as always, you can check out my Imperial Trooper modding video to make sure you have done so. Next up, we have Visas Mar, and they are another staple in the lineup. And whilst they don't have an impact on speed, Visas can cause issues due to revives if you allow her to stay alive long enough. This leaves us with only Starkiller remaining. Now in Grand Arena, Starkiller is going to be giving the entire team 70 speed. So in the case of my opponent's Mara Jade, they would end up being at 322 speed, which is extremely low. So let's actually take a look at mine instead. My Mara Jade is 343, not fast by any means, it may be faster than some of you watching, but a lot of people have 350, 360 speed Maras. Now, with the increase from Starkiller, Mara is sitting at 413 speed, and you guessed it, Troopers will not be outspeeding this team. So how do you win? It's simple, right? You bring Wat Tambor. You do not need to gear him, and all you need is a Zeta. If you've farmed JMK at any point, or if you're farming him now, you're going to have a Relic 7 Wat Tambor or be on the way there. But you can do this with a 3-star Wat Tambor and have zero issues at all. The trick here, guys, is you're going to want to basic with him. You just want the Zeta, so he goes first, and you basic. Now, if we look at the Imperial Trooper kits, Viz is actually giving 10% turn meter gain for each buff that they gain. Now when Wat Tambor basics, he gives the entire team heal over time, and when he gives them heal over time, that's 2 buffs, so that's 20% speed. Let's work out if this would be enough for my troopers to go first. So in my example, my Piet is 327 speed, and he gains an additional 20 from Viz's lead. So effectively, my Piet is 347 speed. Now to work out the turn meter gain, we times the speed by 1.2. We times it by 1 for the base speed and 0.2 for the 20% turn meter gain. The result of this is 416 speed. 3 speed faster. But Glurmit, I went first and I still lost. What did I do wrong? Well, it's simple, guys. Let me guess, you marked Dart Trooper, right? I mean, everyone always does that. And let's look at the side-by-side comparison, and I'll show you why that's a terrible idea. Thanks to Starkiller's unique, debuffed enemies are actually dealing 50% less damage. Now you may still win with the reduced offense, but the chances you either time out or you stall on Starkiller are much higher. Let's remember guys, Starkiller does counterattack, so if you get stuck on him and don't take him out quick, he will counterattack your team to death. And finally, we need to talk about Datacrons. Datacrons have a massive impact. They can change this, they can make counters easier or harder, but thankfully in the case of Starkiller and the case of Imperial troopers, it doesn't really change too much. The main one people are running today and at the moment is actually the turn meter gain Datacron. So I'm going to show it on the screen now. And what it's doing is giving a percentage increase to turn meter to the weakest character, not including themselves. So if you, for example, have Mara Jade as the weakest, they're going to be gaining a lot of turn meter. If Palpatine's the weakest, he's going to gain a lot of turn meter, and so on and so on. Now, the important thing here, guys, is that this is not just tied to your opponent. You can easily apply the same Datacron as well, as long as you have the relic levels. And currently, with this current set, and if you guys are watching this video a few months down the line, there may be different Datacrons. Like I said, this doesn't change too much, but down the line, you need to account for the fact that the current one is only dark side allies. In a Starkiller lineup, you have a light side ally, so even if you have a slower trooper team, you'll still go first as long as you have the full team. And the final thing I'm going to cover in this video is actually characters which, if you see in the lineup for Starkiller, you should just avoid doing troopers altogether. Firstly, we have Malik. Now the reason why we want to avoid him is because if you crit him, you're going to have a bad time, he's going to fear you. Now unfortunately, you guys may know, troopers run Darth Revan teams into the ground, but you don't have to use the AoEs. In this lineup, you kind of want to use an AoE from Veers to guarantee the kill to go next, because they're going to be gaining so much health boosts, and if Starkiller does a special, the Jedi tank will get damage immunity and taunt, and then the game's over. So if you see Malik, I would say just don't bother. Don't bother. And secondly, we actually have Barriss. And Barriss may be the single worst thing to see on the other lineup. Yes, Starkiller loses the tank, but he can bring a pre-taunting tank instead, for example, Sith Trooper. But the reason this sucks is because whenever you crit anyone, they're going to be gaining 10% turn meter. And as we know, once the troopers get outsped, they're not going to be getting all those stacks of Emperor's Trap, and in the end, you're going to probably time out or lose because you're not going to have the offense increase. So Barriss is someone to look out for. The other thing is she's going to be passively healing the team. I hope this video has answered all your questions about why you might be losing to Starkiller with Imperial troopers. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. My name is Glurmit, and thanks for watching.